Okay, so a customer has sent me this graphic image to create a clip art that will work in the Eclipse software. They've already prepared some type of a CAD file, and we need to make it fit and work through it. So this is going to be a deep dive, a lot of complicated stuff. Don't get scared, just watch all the way through. All right, so first of all, I'm going to zoom in on this, and I'm going to kind of move my mouse over it because we need lines and arcs only. This image suits itself to just lines. So that's a bit of a simple thing. Now, one thing is, you can see this R down here. We don't need that. We're not going to be able to cut that, so we're going to erase it. So we're going to drag a rectangle over the whole thing and click. And then we're going to hit erase. We're going to get rid of that. Now, I'm using my mouse and my roller button on my mouse to move around. Now, the customer said he wants the opening, the bottom of the bevel, to be where this blue line and the orange color, or the tan color, whichever color it is, are. So we're going to delete this. We're going to select this fill. It says it's a hatch up here. We can't use hatches in the Eclipse, so we're just going to delete that. And we're going to delete that one. And we're going to zoom up in here. We're going to delete this, and this, and this. So we got rid of all the hatch entities. Now, you can see when we zoomed up in here, look, this isn't a very clean file because you don't really want a hook on here. So let's just do this. So let's zoom, extents, and then roll it back a little bit so we can work on it going on. Okay, so now that we've looked at this a little bit, one of the things we want to know is, what did they make this path out of? See, it goes all the way around, all highlights at once, but what is it? Well, it says it's a spline over here. Well, remember, we can't use splines to do this work with. We have to have polylines, so we're going to have to recreate this thing using just lines. So I'm going to press the escape key to deselect. All right. Now I'm going to make a layer to work with because we have everything's on a layer. So we're going to make a new layer. We're going to call it layer 1, and we're going to make it red. And we're going to double click on it because that's what we're going to draw with. All right, now since these are all straight lines except for a couple of angled lines in the R, I'm going to put ortho on. So I'm going to click this button down here, ortho. And then I'm going to click line. And one of the problems is I've got automatic snap on, but there's the midpoint of that. And where's the end point? The end point's up here, but now it's not giving me any other points to work with. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to use the nearest entity snap. And I'm going to click on this. And I'm just going to click on this line wherever. See that little hourglass thing show up when I get close? So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to drag up here. And you can see that those two lines aren't even straight on, but hey, we're going to work with it. And since we're supposed to be doing the inside, not the outside, I'll delete that. So let's line, near, let's grab this, let's go up here. Line, near, let's grab over here. Line, near. We're just going to repeat this for every line segment. They don't have to touch. Line near. down there, line near, line near, line near, oops, near, line near, line near, line near, line near, line near. So now I'm going to turn off the white stuff for right now. So I'm going to turn off these other two layers. Oops, looks like I missed a line right there. So let's turn that line back on. Yep, I did. So let's go line here and oops. Now, because I had ortho on, those are all straight lines. Now, I want this line to go away right here, so let's break that. So I'm going to use the split. I'm going to select here and here. And it got rid of, it put a break in there for me. And same thing over here. I'm going to do split. There, and now I'm going to turn off this layer, and now I'm going to use the fillet command. I don't have an icon for that, so I'm just going to type fillet. And down here, it says the radius is 0, so, and it's in trim mode. So that means every two lines that I connect on, click on, are going to trim themselves so they intersect with 0 radius. You'll see what I mean. So if I click here and here, these are the parts I want to keep. It's going to get rid of these parts here. Fillet. It's just going to extend this one over to meet this line and trim this line back. So every time I hit the fillet command, it's going to make the two entities connect to each other end to end. Okay, so now let's turn that layer back on that we were provided. And yep, it goes around. Okay, so now let's do the R. So I'm just using my mouse to move this around. Okay, so line, near, and I'm going to pick the inside of this. I'm going to go all the way down here. Line, near, and this one, line, near, near, this line. Now remember, I can only make straight lines right now because ortho's on, so I'm just going to do the vertical lines. Oops, that didn't work out so good. So let's type U for undo. And what happened is I got too close to that snap point, so that's where it went. I need to be over here so there's no little golden symbols, yellow symbols. Okay. Line, near. near, line, near. It's like a broken record. Line, near, line, near, line, near, line, near. Line, near. I'm just going to drag this one all the way over here. Okay. All right, so now I need some angled lines. So to duplicate their angled lines, I'm going to turn ortho off by clicking on it. And it told us ortho was off here in the command window. Now I'm going to do line, and I'm going to say near, and I'm going to say, line, near. I'm going to pick here, and then I'm going to pick near again, and pick somewhere else on the line. So it makes me a little short line segment. Line, near, pick that one, do near again, pick that one, line, near, and near again, line, near, near. All right, now we don't need this in here. I'm going to turn entity snap off for a moment. I'm going to do break between 2 points. Click here and here. I'm going to click here and here. And I'm going to click here and here. And I'm going to click here and here. Because I have entity snap off, it wasn't going to grab the white lines or the red lines. It was just going to go wherever I digitize on the screen. Now I'm going to put entity snap back on. All right, now I'm going to turn the white layer off, just so it's not in my way. I'm going to do that fillet command again. Click down here, type fillet. Select entity. Remember, we're in trim mode and the radius is 0. Oh, look at that. I missed a line right there. So let's escape out of that and let's turn that back on. And let's do line, near. Oops, ortho mode. Line, near. And you notice I could do all those things kind of out of sequence. Okay, now let's turn that back off again. All right, now let's trim that all up. So there's a fillet. Oops, click here, fillet. There is an icon for a fillet, so we could add that to our entity, to our menus. So let's go around and fillet this bad boy. Okay, so there's our R. Now we need the inside of the R. So this is the bottom of the bevel, and it's going to go up this way, and this is going to be the top of the bevel. All right. Now, if we were to use this inside path for the bottom of our bevel, then this and this is going to be cut out in the second matte layer, where all the red was cut out in the first matte layer. So since we just mentioned second matte layer, let's add a new layer, and layer 2. And let's make it blue. Okay, whoops. So let's choose it and make it active. Okay, now let's do, so we're going to cut this. This is going to be the bottom of the bevel, and this is going to be the top of the bevel, so that the top of the bevel lines up with the bottom of the bevel on this mat. So right, this is the face paper of the top mat. This is our bevel. This is the bottom of the bevel. And we want it to line up so that this image is in line. So let's do a line. And we can just click. Oh no, we can't. It's a spline. So we're going to do near. We're going to do the same thing. Line near. Line near. Line near. We're going to turn off that layer. We're going to fill it, that stuff up. Okay. So that's all we need. We don't need this other stuff. So let's put layer 0 on as our active layer. Let's click that. Oh, it's hidden because it's off. Let's see what's on that layer. Don't know. Let's turn layer 1 and layer 2 off. Okay. Let's zoom extents. Okay, now let's zoom out, since we know that's the only thing in the drawing. That's why I did that. If I do zoom extents, it's going to fill the screen with everything that has been drawn. And that fills it right up with just those entities. So we're going to erase this and this and this and this. So those are multiple selections. Oops. And there's another set of information there. So that's a polyline, and that's a spline. So we don't like those. So we're going to, the customer's file, we don't need these because we already made our own. So select this and delete that. Select this and this. Delete that. Now let's turn this layer and this layer back on. Okay. Perfect. So this is our geometry that we're going to cut. Now we have no idea what size this is. So let's just get an idea. Let's measure. Let's just go from here to here. 1,038 inches, probably because this came from pixels in the graphics software. It used 1 pixel unit for 1 inch. So we can't have that. We got to scale this way, way, way down. So how are we going to do that? All right, so let's do this. So let's use layer 0. Let's draw a line from here with the ortho on over to here, and a line from here down to here. So this is going to be the corner of our geometry here. Our whole kind of our bounding box, if you want to say that. We could draw another one from here over here and from here up. So this white thing represents our bounding box. Now, if we want this all to fit in a 5x7, let's draw a rectangle from the intersection of these two guys. See how it snaps on there? Okay, and now you can see I got this rubber band. I want it to be 7 inches wide and 5 inches high. So I'm gonna, down here, I'm gonna put an at for a relative dimension. So from where I clicked before, go 7 over and 5 up. That is way small. Can you see that right there? So we got to get all that to fit in there. Okay. So we're going to use the scale function. So over here is scale. So we're going to drag a box around all this stuff. And we're going to zoom in here. We're going to use the shift key and hold it down and click on this to remove that. See, that's white, so that's not in the selection. Okay. I pressed enter because I don't want to select any more things, and now it wants to know the base point of where I want to scale from. I want to scale from right here. And what's the scale factor? Well, I don't know. So I'm going to say reference. So I'm going to make it calculate the scale factor. And it says, what's the reference length? And I'm going to say from here to here. And what's my new length? You see how it's scaling it down all the time? My new length is there, the top of that 5x7. So now, if I say zoom extents, this is my geometry, and it looks like it did before, but this is my 5x7 box. So I like that. So now, let's delete this box. And the other thing we need is, we need this corner, this intersection point, to be at 0, 0. So I have no idea where it is right now, so I'm just going to select everything. And I'm going to say move. And it says from what point? Down here it says specify the from point. And I'm going to say from the intersection of this. And it says destination point. I'm going to click here and I'm going to say 0, 0. Oops, it's way off the screen now. So let's just do zoom extents. Okay, there it is. How do we know that that corner is at 0, 0? So this icon right here is called the UCS, User Coordinate System. So I'm going to say UCS icon, and I have options. And I'm going to say at the origin, OR. Now you see what it did is it placed the icon for the user coordinate system at the origin. And now every time I move it around, it follows. But if I want that icon to stay over here out of my way, I say UCS icon, and then I say no for no origin. So now this will always stay in this corner of the window. Even though this is 0, 0, this is 0, 0, no matter where I move it. Okay? Now, the closest any two cuts can be on an Eclipse is 1/4 of an inch. in 4-ply mat board. So I need to measure between these two lines and see what I have. So I'm going to measure, and since I don't know if these two things are straight in line with each other, I'm going to measure from the midpoint of this line perpendicular to this line. It's going to say, hey, that's 3/8 of an inch, 0.375. So I like that. That's good. So I'm not complaining. What about these two down here? They look about the same. Let's just verify. Measure between the midpoint. Well, in this case, we drew these as a straight line, so I can measure from the end point of this to the end point of this. That's 0.4, so over 3/8 of an inch. So that's good. That's working good. So now I'm going to draw a rectangle from this corner to this corner on layer 0, rectangle. So I'm going to use rectangle. I'm going to go from intersection of here to the intersection of here. And I'm going to erase these lines because I can't use them. Now, this is the bottom of the cut. So my clip art has to know what it's going to be at the face paper. So I'm going to offset 0.06 for 4-ply mat board. This out. Okay, so that would be like the face paper, and this is the bottom of the bevel. So let's delete that. So that is my clip art. Now I need to move this back up to the origin. So let's move, because remember, let's just undelete that. Remember, this is where my origin originally was. Now we moved it there. I need to move the origin out to there. Okay, so let's move all of this. I don't need any more entities, so I'm going to hit enter. From where? From the end point of this to 0, 0. Okay, get rid of this inside rectangle. All right. Now, these are individual pieces of geometry, and they need to be a path or a polyline. And remember, when we're cutting, it goes backwards from the direction we draw. So we're going to always draw clockwise for a regular bevel. We're going to draw counterclockwise for a reverse bevel. So clockwise. So let's start up here and we'll go around. So I'm going to still do this on layer 0. And you'll see why in a moment. So let's go to polyline. And where's our start point? It's here. We'll go to here and here, here. As soon as that little yellow box shows up, I can click because it knows to grab the endpoint. See, there's a triangle right there. I don't want to grab that. Okay, now remember, we need to close it. So we need to use this close option. So close. All right. Now let's do the next one. Polyline. Do I want to start up here? Do I want to start over here? I don't know. Let's just start over here. Go round. Close. Okay. Now let's do the last one. close. Okay, now let's turn layer 0 off. It's going to warn us because we're drawing on 0, it's active. And then let's erase all of this. Let's turn layer 0 back on. Let's take this and change the layer to 1. Hit escape to get out of that. Click on this, change it to layer 2, hit escape to get out of that. Okay, so now we got our file. Now we need to make some order because maybe we didn't keep track of what order. Is the R going to cut first? Is the F going to cut first? We don't know. So let's move everything that we drew from this end to this end. Okay. So now let's copy them back in the order that we want them to cut. So we'll use the copy feature. We'll copy this guy from here to here. And it wants to do more. I'm going to hit escape. Now let's copy this guy from here to here. Because remember, we moved him over the white lines amount, so I can move him back the same amount. And so copy this guy from here to here. And then erase all these guys. And zoom extents and zoom 0.9x. And there's our guy. Now we need to clean this file, clean. And we're going to hit delete all. Okay. And then file, save as. And we're going to make it, we'll just call it FR sample. Well, we'll just call it FR. And we want to make sure it's an R14 ASCII DXF file. Save. All right. So now if we did everything right, cut will not complain at us. So we're going to start the cut software. Demo mode, because I don't have a controller card. File, open DXF file. We're going to go to new folder, and we're going to find the FR DXF. Open it up. So it's complaining to us, this map file has exceeded the limits of the machine. Because on the machine, you can only cut within 1 inch of the bottom and the left. And we've got this little 60,000 16th of an inch. So it's yelling at us. And we're just going to say, okay. All right. So it shifted everything over and put this outside box, which is the white box, on. This is the top from the back. This is the bottom from the back. This is all of them together from the back. Now that all looks good. So we're going to say File, Export as Clipart. And we're going to go in New Folder, and we're just going to make the FR Clipart. And it has been exported. Okay. Now we don't need this, so we'll exit that. Now let's start the create software. File, let's see, create. All right, so here's our 11 by 14 mat. And if we go to Clipart, we say add Clipart, and we need to go to documents. And where did we put it? Put it in a place called new folder. Oops, we need to go to desktop. Desktop, new folder. And there's our Clipart file right there. And we hit OK. There it is in the create. Now we can mix and match that with add opening. Let's close that tool. Let's go to openings and let's add an opening. Let's rotate that. Put that up there, and I'll make it look nice, right? And now let's send that over to the cut software. And there's our mat. And we can cut it. Okay, that's all the process. A lot to learn and step through, but that's how it works. That's it.